Unscripted with Jed Snyder. I'm your host, Brad Oldhouse. That's Matthew back there on the ones and twos. And today, we're going to discuss rink operations. Now, we have been getting some questions about how does it, what does it take to run a rink and all that other stuff, Jed. So I figured today might as well just dive in.
Okay.
So that's what we're going to do today. By the way, you're coming off of a pretty cool trip. You want to tell us about it?
Yeah, just got back from Detroit. We were at the NA3 owners meetings. Coach Damon and I went. Sweet. Yeah, it was a good trip.
Did I'm curious, how did the topic of the new null rule? I'm imagining that might have been discussed amongst.
Yeah, there's a few of them that are coming out. When they follow, when they trickle down, it'll be good to see. It'll be good for hockey with us. Like a lot of it right now at the moment, we can't talk about due to the non-disclosure of the meeting, but. There's some stuff that's coming through regarding the rules and stuff and how we're trying to position the NA3 is pretty awesome. Okay. To get on the topic of what they came out and what they launched with the null push down and all that stuff, I mean, that's just going to make everything better for USHL, NA, and obviously the NA3. Yeah, if you want to play in the North American League, like you got to go through the process. Mm-hmm. Like you can't be in a renegade league and try and
get to them.
Think you're just going to go, like you're going to go do this and then come back, right? So it only benefits us, and it benefits it just benefits altogether. Now, as a league, we also understand out east we have to get a better footprint because kids do want to go to college,
sure.
And we have to start as the organization of the North American League and us being under that umbrella, we have to make sure that we're doing some stuff to get kids exposure out there. Not that we don't have a footprint out there, but we need to make sure we're exposing, our 20-year-olds to the big, what do you want to say, the tightness or the condensedness of colleges that's out there.
Yeah.
So we're working on that as well, which is exciting. So I think it'll be good. I think it'll be good all the way through. I think fans will see a pretty exciting product trickle in over the next year or so, even more so than we got now. I mean, we got a good product. It's not going to really – it'll help us, but it'll also help the other teams a lot more because, I mean, that are – they're struggling to get some good guys that are struggling to create a fan base and that sort of thing. So I think it'll help all the way through.
That was definitely my expectation too. Is that okay? I think, and we've kind of seen each team in our division at least get a little better each year. Mm-hmm. I kind of expect that this move kind of helps everybody, right? That rising tide lifts all boats bullshit.
Yeah, no, I agree. The cool thing about it is it will help the frontier. Mm-hmm. It's so fucking hard for us to recruit out here. Mm-hmm. And so being able to pull kids out knowing that we're all on the same path in the North American League will be huge, And you've got other steps coming in, like Bozeman finishing out the rinks, huge. Great Falls has got a good push. Butte's always going to be Butte, and their product is going to be tough and gritty and all that stuff. But allowing them to create, more avenues to pull kids in as well will only help, with the way Rapid City's been really consistent in improving, obviously with Yellowstone's improvement this year and what JJ did in Sheridan. This only makes it better for all of us because it's like I said, it's really hard for us to fucking pull players. Mm-hmm. So having a path and that the NA3 is the path to the North American League just makes that way, way better.
Definitely. Well, welcome back nonetheless.
Thanks.
That's awesome. I'm glad you had a good time. And I'm looking forward to hearing more about whatever it is you guys are working on as the news comes out, and we'll definitely discuss it.
Absolutely.
For sure. So you own the rink.
Yeah.
And I'd imagine, and I'm only saying this just because I'm just an outside observer and watching you work every day. Owning an ice rink can't be the easiest thing in the world.
At all.
There are what I've seen you go through over the last few years shocks me and still makes me shake my head like, I'd have been out a long time ago. Yeah. So, first of all, talk to me about, and we've already established, and if you didn't hear this in the St. Patrick's Day episode with Mike Green, go back and listen to that. We talk about, how you guys came on
The
board
evolution of it.
did the evolution and all that. So you guys can go back and listen to that. What does it take to operate? Give me that 25,000 foot view. You don't have to go into the nitty gritty.
And it's just there's a few things that suck. Like let's just go with that. Like let's just talk about the fucking shittiness of it before we go into the good, I guess, if there is one.
Sure.
No, the hardest thing about it is navigating the personalities of everybody involved. That's number one, because once again, people look at something from an aspect of what their lens, and that's the hardest thing you navigate. You know what I mean? Like the biggest thing is, you deal with, and it's one thing that has been consistently said through the whole time, is the rink is always busy. And it's like, okay, you're here from 5 to 7, Monday through Thursday, and you're at a Bighorn game. That would give you the appearance that it's busy.
Sure.
It's not fucking busy. It's just busy during that fucking time, right? So
Gotcha.
that's been the biggest thing. And that's fine. It's part of the gig. Like it's not, you're going to get that anywhere. It's not, we are just not unique to that frame of mind, right? Like every rink, every business partner I work with across the country, they all deal with the same shit, really. So that portion of it is never going to go away. It's just navigating the personalities that, one are just looking at it from their lens and don't understand like the whole backside office of it. And then number two that goes into that is the expenses of things. And, it's like there's nothing easy that breaks in a rink.
Huh.
It's not like something's just a small fix, right? Now, granted, there are, but usually when something goes, it's got a heavy, heavy price tag. And that's the other thing. It's not just simple either. Even though you walk in, it looks like a big building and big empty space. And this is all rinks. Like I said, I've got business partners that I talk to and communicate with on a weekly, daily basis all across the country, because you want to make sure we're all consistent pulling the rope, and it is. Nothing is cheap. And so, I think that's the two biggest challenges, because at the end of the day, everyone can fucking argue with me if they want, but rinks aren't money makers. You just want to make sure it doesn't cost you anything at the end of the day. Right. And so those are the two big challenges with it, would be cost. And then obviously I think any business is cost. But the other thing is it's people's perception of exactly what's going on. Because statistically, if you look at it, like rinks, a rink that is operating at optimal, whatever the standard of optimal is that they came up with, as far as where you can, one, expand, two, look at other things, is right around 65% occupancy. Okay. So that comes out to about 4,100 hours, between 39.5 and 4,100 hours of ice bookings. Now, ice bookings are public skates, stick and pucks, youth hockey, bighorn, curling, whatever it is, right?
Gotcha.
We operated about, I think in 2025, we did 1,305 hour booking hours. Right. So we're not even halfway to what a rink should be as optimal booking.
Wow.
So, that's where that lens and that perception comes into play when, people want to just talk and whatever, that's the biggest misconception, right? Is the rink's always busy, and it's any rink. Once again, it's just not unique to us. What I'm talking about is generalizations of the rink industry. Mm-hmm. But yeah, we're nowhere near even 50%. Well, 50% of the optimal percentage of bookings.
Wow.
So
that's incredible.
So you get into these numbers and you really start diving into what it is. It's not. It's bizarre. It's just really challenging how, how do we get there? What do we get there? And there's certain things that our little rink will never maximize just because of where we're at. Mm-hmm. One of the biggest things is for rinks that's really good for rinks, right, is adult hockey. And we've talked about this 100 times just in passing conversations. But adult hockey is really, really good for the rink, both in revenue, both in sales of product in the rink. Just go through all of that shit, right? So for instance, Bozeman, I think has what is it like? I'm trying to remember. I think it's 1,048 adult leaguers. Okay, you split that over 2 sheets, so basically they got 500 adult leaguers per sheet, right? Registered adult leaguers. We have 183.
Whoa.
So like that shows you what they have as a hot, but they also have the university that comes in, and people have played hockey their whole lives and they want to get back into adult league. They have a culture. We don't. Like we got people that just play adult league, and which is totally cool, you know, but that's a huge chunk of ice usage.
Interesting.
You know, yeah, just those kind of like little statistics that you think about, and it's like, okay, well, that's, you know, that's a lot of bookings that could go in there that could actually look at maximizing what our usage should be, you know. So, I think navigating that, and I think there's a big portion of misinformation that's been out there about rinks in general, you know. So, trying to clear it up, trying to get it running efficient, trying to get your numbers to where they should be, so you know you can actually look at those expansion side of things, look at certain things that, you know, that can go into it that keep it running, keep it sustainable, and that sort of shit.
So the expenses of it, we don't need to get into the actual numbers or anything, but I seem to recall a conversation, and this is now the second episode I've mentioned Stan Senechel's name.
Yeah.
Back in the day, I remember that he told me that even just the power bill was $11,000 a month, and how all of the utilities and everything else that goes on to it, like the shit adds up, right?
Yeah.
And then you just said, you know, at the beginning was when something breaks at a rink, it's never easy. And I've seen you go through this where one thing breaks, but it's led because of this other thing that wasn't fixed. And in order to fix this, you got to fix that. And suddenly you're in deep for fucking $30K.
Yeah.
So like, it's just really interesting to me how people just make those assumptions that, oh, well, the ice rink's there, it's always full. You must be making money hand over, you know what I mean? Like all of these misconceived, preconceived notions. Those are big words for 7 a.m., Jed. Sorry.
No, you're good. You're good.
So asking you about how this works is kind of like let's dispel these myths and get those out of the way.
Yeah, I guess the biggest thing that's hilarious is when you turn lights off, compressors don't stop, right? So that's the other thing, is that the power and every utility that works for that place runs 24/7. Like it doesn't shut off. It's not like a building where you go home and you turn something off and it doesn't keep. It just shuts everything down. You know, set your AC, move it up so it doesn't turn on during the night, whatever. There's none of that shit. It's fucking go the whole time. And that's the other thing that's just one of the expenses. I mean, it is what it is, man. Like I'm not trying to, you know, we're not sitting here going like, well, it's always this or that. No, it is what it is as far as rinks go. We all battle the same shit, you know. But it is. It's a 24-hour, 7-day a week, 365 days operation that runs consistently, you know, in order to maintain the ice. I mean, anytime you're dealing in commodities, which we're selling frozen water, like fucking, you're gonna have consistency to keep it running,
right?
And that's the other thing. And it's not, you know, it's neither here nor there. But as you go through it, and as you said, things break, and then they move on, and you got to fix things, and you got to repeat fix things because they weren't fixed correctly before. You know, it's that it's kind of when things run all the time. You know, it's weird. I guess with machinery that runs all the time, if it runs all the time, it usually sustains longer and becomes more efficient or is efficient. It's when it's shut off, not maintained, and then broken is when you actually, it's not designed to operate that way. And that's one of the things we dealt with early on was, you know, and their business wasn't there to do it. So they did it. They shut it down during the summer, and that's okay. Like, hey, it's not a big deal. But when you go to turn it back on in the fall and you do that consistently for things that are designed to stay online, you know, then you start getting these compounded effects, you know. So, you know, but like I said, it's one of those things, man, that you accept what it is and you know what it is. And once again, all rinks deal with the same issues, you know, but it's how you alleviate and how do you get it run efficiently. And that's like in the process of what we're doing now is we are creating efficiency. We are creating, you know, it's like the AC unit we put in the back, right? That goes into the ceiling.
Right.
Like we did that to take the heat out of the ceiling so the compressors aren't trying to cool the whole building through the ice. They're just trying to cool the floor, which adds longevity to the compressors, which are all brand new compressors we replaced last year. And now we have this AC unit that can take an old system and help this sustain legs for another 5-10 years.
That's awesome.
You know, so like it's about identifying what you have, and then knowing our faults in it and how do we alleviate that on the back end. You know, and so with the addition of that AC unit we did in August. 'Cause I remember last year. Remember we were dealing with some shit we had never fucking seen in there, man. Mm-hmm. That level of humidity.
It was nuts.
What was nuts, and it was the usage increased. The weather was odd, and we were still trying to cool the building from the fucking floor, you know. But once we took even fucking 10 degrees or 5 degrees out of that ceiling, we're still freezing ice at 25 degrees.
Right.
You know, and Ryan's able to work with the ice upwards of 26 now. So like, you know, which is unbelievable. Now there's no fog in there. We're not getting any more of the drips as much, and like, you know, we're doing it, and that's why we're going to add a second unit on that north end around the superstructure side where the real heat is, so we can actually even maintain it even better. So, you know, it's about identifying your older systems, knowing what they are, and then what can we put in to make it more efficient, you know?
Definitely. Man, that's incredible. Yeah, I remember that whole thing. Like, I mean, we had some crazy heat going on, and you walked into the rink and it felt like you were walking into a shower that just got turned off.
Fuck,
like
we had one Bighorn game. I think it was like, it got up to like 26 well, it was during the week, and then we put in that shit through the door.
That's right.
Just to get it going, just to save it. Mm-hmm. And we got like, I think it was like one game we fucking left. It was like 28 degrees on the ice when we finally got out of there. And then we had youth hockey coming in after that. So it was it was like, fuck, we got to figure something out in a hurry. And then we got it in the ceiling, and man, life changed, you know, so.
That's awesome. So switching gears here, and you kind of alluded to it, and you can talk as much about it as you want, but what's kind of the future of the rink that you see? Like, what's something that you'd like to see happen over the next several years? You know, you're talking about possible expansions, but, you know, like, where do you see this thing going here in 5 years?
I have a couple of different ideas. I mean, I think now's not the time to really discuss it.
Cool.
But like at the end, I'd like to see it to where it gets consistently smoothed out in the short term. Because once we can get this to where it's operating, you know, at its maximum efficiency, and to where we can get, you know, we can get costs down to where that they're consistent, as opposed to these huge spikes in costs because of you know, systems breaking and that sort of thing. And then you can sit down and I can really fucking start mapping out what I have ideas, what the next 3 to 5 years looks like into the 7-year realm. But in all honesty, you can only dictate that until the revenue can dictate what it is. And right now, like where we're at, there's so much inconsistency with the amount of expenditures that we have based on what it is. Like we'll have a few good months, and then I have to do something because of whatever. So where we're at is really, really fucking hard to navigate due to the fact of the inconsistency and basically like getting the building to run as efficient as possible. I mean, in all fairness, it was never, the system that put in was never designed to run all year, you know? So back in 94 when it went in or whatever, you know what I mean? So like really at the end of it, like we don't even know what that rink can dictate. You know, we're getting close and we have a good idea of it, but like, I think in the next year, you'll see things kind of settle down. And then at that point, I can go back through and see what level of expansion or what level of construction ideas I want to do based on it. Because really at the end, and I've said this before, I said it, you know, to branch off and hypothetically say build another rink. Well, okay, that's cool, but you know, that talk is, can it even really happen until this one's running efficiency? Because right now, are we sustaining it 13, 14 booking hours, 100 booking hours a year? Yeah, we are. Okay, cool. So what does that mean? Well, you need to get to 3,000 in order then to actually physically split, you know, and that way both places can sustain. Can we do it? Absolutely. I'm not worried about getting there. It's just, we got to get there.
Got to get there.
Otherwise, like, you're going to split off, one's going to fail, oh, now they're both going to fail.
And you've gone forward on a hope and a prayer at that point.
100%. Because at the end of the day, as much as this community is growing with hockey and all that stuff, like you still got to be able to find the ice user groups. And like I said, not having the adult hockey that the other rinks have. I mean, I can't even. I think, what does Greener have? Like 6 leagues, and he's got 48 fucking teams or something in Colorado. Like it's 1,200 players in his league down there.
Crazy.
Now that would make more sense than Bozeman's because they got 800,000 people in Colorado Springs, right? But Bozeman has 70,000 people, and they're running still at 1,000 adult leaguers. You know, we're at city populace here is what 37,000 or whatever,
right?
And we got 183. You know, so like.
Crazy.
Like those numbers help facilitate expansion and growth, but at the end, like if the booking hours aren't even close to splitting to where you're at, nothing's gonna come about, you know. So, but then again, too, you have to have the product running optimal, so that way you can navigate the rink side as well, and it all feeds into each other. You know what I mean? So, I think in the next 7 to 12 months, we'll be pretty much solidified with what we're doing as far as I think I've replaced or fixed multiple times every system in that building. So I think that we'll be in a good spot for that. And then we can look at navigating the rest of it from there. Like I said, it's all based on revenue, man. Yeah. And I'm not talking profit because there ain't much, right, if there is any. Mm-hmm. You know, I'm talking revenue. I'm talking like, can we duplicate it? You know, with what we know, and you know, obviously newer costs, whatever expansion is going to have a higher price tag.
Sure.
And it's going to have a higher price tag for rentals. It's going to have a higher price tag for everything else. It's just the nature of the beast. You can't build something new and think you're going to go back to the price of something that's 30 years old.
No doubt.
You know, so I think that's a kind of an illusion too, because you know people want to play between fucking 5 and 10, and and it's just. It's like that's not what happens, you know. Like there's guys that think that adult league should play Fridays during fucking Bighorns should give up a couple of their Fridays and Saturdays so they can play between 7 and 9:30 on a Friday, and it's like that's delusional. Mm-hmm. You know, that doesn't make sense. It doesn't help our ice community. Right. You know, like the Bighorns need to be in their spot. Youth hockey needs to be in their spot. Those guys generate for the rink. Mm-hmm. You know, and that's. Unfortunately, that's kind of the pecking order of it, and everybody knows it. And I think it's been that way, I don't know, since the dawn of time, you know. But unfortunately, we've got there's people in our ice community that don't see it that way. And whatever. At the end of the day, it's their opinion, and they're entitled to it. But that's just the fucking truth. So we get to a point where the revenue's up and things have settled out in the month. Then we'll start getting and looking at what it is, because there's a couple of different plays that are out there. And so we have to let the revenue dictate what it is. And it will all be beneficial for all users. It will be. It's just, what does it look like? Right. You know, I've mentioned it publicly that like I would like to, the plan is to start expanding and breaking ground in 2029 on an expansion of some sort. Sweet. I've said second sheet, and I still believe in that. I'll never not change that. But what does that look like? Because at the end, if we can't get to any numbers, and I've said it before, revenue dictates it, like 100%. It's not my decision. My decision, if I could do it, would be build. But at the end, you can't do it. You can't do it and expect it not to bankrupt the other one if it's not there, you know. And like, there's so many other numbers that go into play with it, you know. Yeah,
you're talking about the market essentially, and the market is going to dictate whether or not you can do this. Yeah, right. And that's just smart business. Right? I mean, how many people start businesses every year that fail within 6 to 12 months because they didn't do any kind of market research? They think in their mind, well, I've got a product or a service that people need. Turns out there's no demand for it in the market, which is when people pay to have those products or services. So what you're talking about is very, on its basic level, is very basic, right? Like, if you want more, buy more. Yep. Right? We can talk about, you know, the reason Bozeman has a second sheet is because the numbers demanded it, right? Like, that's just how it goes. Next question is, I don't know, it's kind of a weird one, but if you could go back to decision time of buying the rink or not, knowing what you know now, would you have made the same decision?
That's I don't know.
Tough one, right?
That is.
It is tough.
I mean, I like what it's done for. Obviously, Greener mentioned it. I initially, bought it to protect our brand with the investment of the Bighorns.
Right.
And I'm into hockey, so it wasn't like it was just that's what we're doing. No, we this is going to be something great. Let's protect it, and then let's build everything up with it. Right.
Sure.
But in all honesty, like it's been challenging. So I don't know. I mean, like I said, I'm where I'm at now. I mean, I'm in it. I love it. No regrets.
There you go.
I think that we're doing amazing things. I think everybody involved, and like now with, we're working really well with youth hockey now, which is exciting. Everybody's kind of pulling together. We've got, I think next April, we've got the curling regionals coming for USA Curling. Awesome. Like we're doing a lot of really cool shit with the Wyatt and how that's going. That stuff and really showcasing the building and that sort of thing has been really, really awesome.
And we've had college hockey here.
100%. Awesome. Like we've done some really cool shit and that I'm very, very proud of. And everybody on board with, the staff and our business partners across the state and all that stuff has just been amazing. But knowing what I know now, I don't know, man. But we're there now. We're in it. And, it's go time.
Yeah, man. I was going to say, like, I think, when I look at where it was before and how it's been since, the place obviously has benefited from somebody that's boots on the ground that is passionate and cares about the place, which I'm pretty sure that was one of Oren's stipulations to selling the thing was he didn't want to just sell it to somebody who was just going to not run it. He wanted to sell it to somebody who gave a shit.
100%.
And you've definitely demonstrated that from minute one of taking over the place. And obviously the lounge is cool. The new bars, like everything you've done physically to improve the space has been really awesome. But to drive home your point that you just said is that it's created more of a deeper community of people that are involved in whatever's going on at the rink, not just hockey. And I think it's fucking incredible, man. Like you've had to walk through some fucking fire to get there, but it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it was. Well, I mean, people still forget, man. I was like the fourth employee hired in that thing.
That's right.
There was a gentleman and his wife out of Great Falls and Beaner Hearn that were hired initially by Mike Avon, and I was number 4.
No kidding.
And then obviously they had, the Subway had their staff and whatever that was in there, and that's right where the concessions was. It used to be a Subway. Originally. So like I'm connected all the way through, right? Like me and Stan and I go way back to that day.
Sure.
And so like being able to get Stan back in the fold and with the Seneschal family, has been just priceless for me. And obviously Stan has always cared about the building. Stan could only operate with what Oren would give him, right?
Absolutely. And
so to see that push, and being able to come back and turn this place into what Stan always kind of had it visioned, has been pretty special. And that's one of those things that, hey, there ain't an amount of money in the world that can buy something like that. Like to be able to have that has been amazing. But like, that's the difference that I think is really missed is the fact that like, fuck, Greener was like 8th guy on the ground. You know what I mean? When he came in with the Ice Pirates before I played, and you heard the story about that when the podcast with him. But like to think that we're coming in just for a specific reason, or think I did this for a specific ideology or selfish reason is completely wrong. Because I mean, in all fairness, when they started with the Helena Wolves, when I played for the Ice Pirates, man, this place could be something special hockey related, and so I've seen it since day one here that it's always had that level of potential. Unfortunately, it started out and did its thing, and then obviously when we came back, there was a culture here that was a little wanky, and we've now kind of changed all that where people are seeing it now, and like obviously with the expansion of the Yeti team that's been doing really good here in Helena, and you know, the expansion of hockey in Montana, you know, we've benefited from that, but we also work with those other groups to come here, like you know, and Dave Weaver who runs Baja and the director of Gallatin Ice, I believe. Like they didn't have to come here for the Wolves when their ice was out, but we're good business partners, and now they're coming here for their camps all summer. You know what I mean? Like that's the hockey community in Montana, and that's people wanting to work with us here because we've worked with them in the past.
For sure.
So once you start building these relationships and these correlations between each other and that sort of thing, it really starts to boost Montana and Helena. I mean, we are centrally located. We have been. Like Helena's never fucking moved. You know, so why aren't we having these showcases? And I think that's, or working with our business partners and that sort of thing, you know. And I think that's something that needs to happen in order for us to see what avenues we're going to take in the future, you know. So it's been as much challenging as it is. It's really cool to see it to come to fruition on that side of it, right? I guess on the community side of it, which is pretty awesome.
How did you find Ryan? Because I mean, Ryan worked at not for the Rampage, but at the rink that the Rampage Monument Ice Arena, which that's a whole separate podcast.
100%.
But how does he end up here? And then how does he end up meeting you guys? How does he end up?
He came to a fucking Bighorns game and left his phone number with concessions.
No shit.
Yeah.
Good on him.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean that's as simple as it gets. And at the time, my old manager Brandon Venata was like, "Hey, we got this dude," and I'm like, "Okay." And he shows up and he fucking plays drums and looks like the animal off the Muppets, and we're like, "Fucking wow, this guy's fucking legit. Like he is something special." And fuck man, he's just blossomed. He's awesome. Like he's my guy.
That's really awesome.
Yeah, just by chance. But I mean, at the end, man, it comes to anything else. Like once you start doing something right, the people that see it, you create a level of gravity, and the people that see it want to be a part of it. I mean, how the fuck am I going to hire an ice guy in Helena, Montana? Like, how in the fuck is that even possible?
You know, look, yeah.
Oh, dude, homie shows up, has about 4 paps, and leaves his phone number at the fucking concession stand. That's how that happens. Because he wants to be a part of it, you know?
That's so cool.
And then you find a way to make it work for him, and so he can have a life, and he can sustain living in Helena. You don't let guys like that go.
Right.
And when you start doing something the right way, the people that truly see it start gravitating towards you. You're always going to have your outliers that are going to fucking run their mouths and shit. But like the people that you're going to start pulling in people that are key pieces that want to be a part of it because they can see what it is. Because they've seen other places that don't work very well. You know? And are we ever going to be like and that's the other thing is like, are we ever going to be you know, we're privately owned. We're the only privately owned in the state, you know, but like when you start working with other arenas and talking to them and working on how they operate and how they do costs and how they do this, they all like you got to get good pieces in play. You got to be able to rent your product, but you also got to keep it within realm based on where you are in the state, you know? And I think that's the other thing is that even guys or ladies that operate rinks, they come to you to have conversations as well because they want to see where you're at, you know? So that's the other thing is like our rink partners, you know, and I say partners is people that I collaborate with, I talk to and all this, you know, because I want to make sure that we're level playing field because there's some things I don't know about. I'm not going to just do it because I'm fucking going to just do it. Like I'm going to make sure I do my homework and do something what's best for the community, but it also has to be on a level to where we're at. You know, everybody I talk to is subsidized. And I've said this 100 times and that's okay. I mean, hey, we're just operating more differently, you know, but being subsidized doesn't mean you're doing it correctly, you know? Because at the end of the day, look at all the places that played fucking hockey in this state, dude. We're the only ones that are original and still in the original rink. You know?
Man, that's impressive. Yeah,
you know,
that's a good point.
Because and all of them are municipality fucking owned.
That's right. You're right.
Junior team played in 4 seasons. They can't put ice in that bitch anymore.
Or the Metro for that matter.
Yeah, and then fucking Great Falls. Great Falls played at the 4 seasons. Bozeman had their shit. They weren't even there. They were in Casper when I played. And then they had that rink built, and that fucking Martell had to take it over because it ran out of fucking money. And then he tried to give it to the city. They didn't want it, so he fucking sold it to a distributorship. Valley Ice Gardens, the west of the Mississippi, was the most beautiful facility ever.
Fucking right, it was.
And
don't get me started.
nobody could sustain it. You know what I mean?
You're right.
Butte didn't have a team. They ended up playing in the Civic Center at some point. You know, I don't even think Missoula even had a rink at the time. It didn't. You know, like Kalispell and Whitefish, they might have. I don't remember. No. But it's subsidized as well. So like at the end of the day, like it's you know, kind of an interesting fact.
Yeah, that's crazy to me. That is so crazy to me. Yeah, R.I.P. VIG. One of my earliest memories of this rink, the first couple years it was operating, they had a St. Patrick's Day youth hockey tournament. Mm-hmm. And I was playing for Baja Bozeman Amateur Hockey, so that's where I grew up. And that was always the best tournament to show up to, because you had indoor ice, right? Like it was a place to go and you had concessions. You know, I don't think the upstairs was completely done yet, but it was a really cool tournament. And I remember just having a blast coming here. And then I got older and I got to play some hockey and then come back here and play hockey. And it was just like, holy shit, this place is fucking bonkers. Yeah. Right? So it's really started something special, and you've definitely brought it back to what you experienced and what it should have always been this whole time. But so from a fan base that appreciates it, thank you so much for that.
Oh, no, it's been a good journey. I mean, and like I said, you've been a part of it. Matthew's been a part of it. Everything coming up, you know, it's like part of that entertainment aspect. You know, you got to make sure people have a good time all the way through, and provide. You know, that's the tournaments that you know, the AU Jamboree is a huge thing here. You know, they're starting to hold house tournaments. Hopefully, we can, you know, we're looking at doing some other stuff with that as well. I'm pretty excited for it. Like I said, the future, it's going to be awesome, and we're going to do some really, really cool shit. We just got to get stuff sustained and see where we can go and how we can navigate. Like, that's the biggest thing, you know. I know that people are trying to push for other things. You know, I think it's misguided. You know, I think that they should, the outdoor, I know there's a big thing right now for the outdoor rink and memorial, and you know, I think the outdoor thing, a covered outdoor, go for it. Like I said, that would, an outdoor rink that people could skate on that they can utilize in the summer for something else. Fuck, man, get after it. Mm-hmm. You know, I think indoor second sheet, I think that's misguided, especially right now when you talk real numbers of sustainability. You know, like it's not even, we're not even close to this one. You know what I mean? To run at maximum output. Right. You know, but once again, though, that's kind of a mindset of people that they deserve to play between 5 and 10 every night. They don't understand what a rink's life cycle is and how it operates. You know, I mean, because a rink to run at 65% occupancy is 11 hours a day, and that's the ZAMs and all that stuff removed. So basic and maintenance, and it's broke down for ice maintenance as well. It's an algorithm that you can that a lot of rink users use that we've talked about, and like, yeah, it's 11 hours a day, 365, and you know, people are going to look at that and go, wow, how is that possible? People fucking do it. They do it. You play adult league at fucking 5 a.m. or at 1 a.m. Yeah, you know, like you're booked. Like you take your book based on slots, based on revenue you produce for the rink. Period. And somebody can completely I just want to put this out there. You can completely validate what Jed is saying here. Go online and look at their ice schedule. Yeah. I'm just saying, like, you do have men's league games starting at 12:15 a.m. Yes. You do have youth hockey showing up in that building at 5:15 a.m. Yes. Like, there is, and it is rolling all day long. Yes. And so that's the level that allows them to finish this expansion, which they've dreamed about for years, but now can finally do it because you can't put any more humans on that ice at this point. No, and but they also purposely schedule. You know, we're finally getting data to where we know where we can put public skatings and stuff to maximize it. We never had that before. You know, we've got it over since 2023. We've been tracking everything. So like a lot of our public skates and stick and pucks and shit. Now during the week we just kind of throw them in there to provide a service. But like we have data that shows us times and days that maximize instead of just putting shit in randomly based on opinion or I think it'll work.
Sure.
We know the numbers now, and it's like it comes with like the scheduling stuff, and it's, you have to look at it from a standpoint of like the bighorns are gone. We need to put stuff in that time slot that we can actually market to draw people in. For example, like, and it's easier said than done.
Sure.
Like I completely get that,
Fair,
right?
fair.
It's completely easier said than done. But like, but whatever's in that slot, that prime time slot, we need to be able to market, sell beer, because what people don't get, and I think is lost too, is they just see the rink busy, but they don't understand like concessions and beer play a huge role in it. That support of the rink keeps ice prices down. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
Nitro for the summer training stuff, getting youth and stuff in there, getting teams in there to train and stuff. That goes towards
Gotcha.
keeping ice rates down. So when you're not subsidized and you occur all costs,
Yes.
right?
I was
You
gonna
have to
say.
create different verticals to come in to offset things. Otherwise, because it's easy to raise ice rates.
Sure.
It's not easy to keep them down. So you have to find different verticals. And
Right.
people have to understand that anything that I'm doing is to negate raising rates.
Right. Well, because there is a point of diminishing returns, right? Because you can raise rates until you're blue in the face, but you could also outprice your market. And
Yeah, but hence why I work with other statewide rinks, and we all kind of work together. Yeah, am I a little bit more expensive? 100%. But different facilities don't have property taxes.
100%.
Different facilities pay rent on a building, but then don't have maintenance costs because they just pay rent. They're a rentor, so they don't pay maintenance. They don't pay employees. We pay for every fucking thing. So like, it's like, okay, well, I still got to make myself marketable amongst everywhere else. But then, okay, so how do I do that? Well, I got to create these different verticals. And through the different verticals, you have to understand that all goes back to the big pot, which goes back to trying to keep ice prices down. But if these aren't supported, you have to do one thing. But the other thing is like, all that's not guaranteed. So the only thing that is guaranteed is booking hours right now. And what I said, 2025 is 1,305 hours, right? So that's the only thing I can take my numbers off of. I can't take shit off of anything else because you can't. People don't. It's not a necessity. It's an add-on, and people don't buy add-ons every time.
Sure.
It's not. So you try to create something over here that interests people, so that way they look at it from a standpoint of, wow, fucking this is cool, or I'm going to buy it's got a beer special for little Johnny's game. Let's get it going. You know what I mean?
right.
But it all goes back into the main kitty. But like, I can't have growth talks or growth conversations off, let's just see, it's easy, but off beer fucking revenue. You can't, because it's
Right.
inconsistent. It's not a guaranteed deal where ice bookings from users and whatever, and basically it's fucking users, but like, that's your guarantee. That's what it comes from, So it's like, well, you're selling all this beer. Yeah, cool. I'm doing that to keep your prices down as best I can, Right. But when you go to the fucking bank, they're not going to go off that.
No.
They're going to go off how much are you booking, and that's the number, because that's a guaranteed revenue. Ice rental is a guaranteed revenue. So when you talk with your business partners across the state and everybody's kind of doing this or that or whatever, it's like, okay, cool. How do that's where they're at. I need to stay within this realm to be competitive in the state. Sure. Okay, so how do I navigate that? Because I can't do this anymore. I can't raise the guaranteed thing. I can't.
The whole point of it is that, and we were talking about, how you could raise rates, but you've had to basically come up with other verticals in order to keep the costs down. And at this point now, it's just the market responding to what you've got available. And at some point, if the market responds and demands that you need another sheet, then that's when you start taking a look at that. So that's basically what I got from that.
Yeah, and I'm looking. Like I said, we all know the plan. I've made it abundantly clear that I want to do it. I've made it abundantly clear that my time frame on it was. We talked about it in the Hey Ha board meetings when I would step in there, because obviously they want more, but everybody does. But at the end, it goes back to, okay, if we're not going to get the booking hours that we need, then we need to create the revenue elsewhere. Right. And I guess that's the whole thing of me talking with building these verticals and trying our best to do that. But it's like, that's the main thing. Like at the end of the day, like, yeah, I get it. But we need booking hours. That's what we need. Operational rental, because it is the guaranteed number, because it's rentals.
Right.
Public skatings and the stick and pucks and all that shit go on there as well, but so do birthday parties and everything else. So, like, and that's the adult league. That's anything that's on our schedule. It goes into that booking hours, is that registered number. And so, like, if we can't get to, what was it, even half, so say 3,200, okay, which would be half, well, 2,600 is what would be half right now, but say 3,000 just for easy numbers. If we can't get to 3,000 hours, okay, cool. But then we got to get there somehow.
Right.
So, have your birthday party at the rink. Get your kids in Nitro Alpha. When you're coming, support concessions, buy beer. Like that shit is what it is. Like, that's, if we're not going to get there rental wise, then we got to get there revenue wise. That's the whole goal. But if we're not going to do it with rental ice, I mean, fucking, that's fucking up to you. But then it's a catch-22. We raised beer prices last year to $5.25 from where it is, and we didn't sell shit. So I brought it back down to $4. You don't know till you try, and at that point you get crucified for shit. But then you go back to it and you're like, fuck, whatever. But at the end, it goes back to the whole thing though. Once again, you're gonna bitch about this, and then I do this to offset this. You're gonna fucking bitch about that. So it's like, well, fuck it. I'll just pick something. Just maybe if you get. The beer's cheap, you get drunk enough, you buy fucking 3. Like, fuck it. You know what I mean?
For sure. No, and I love that you said that, because there are other ways to support the rink without directly buying ice.
Yeah.
That's really important, and it's really cool that well, I mean, you've had to create it out of necessity, but the fact that they even exist is pretty cool. Like, a community member can support, even if you don't go skating, you drink beer and you watch hockey, cool. That's supporting the rink. That's supporting your efforts and what you're doing, and that keeps the lights on. That keeps Ryan doing his thing with the drill and the fucking ice. It keeps Matthew working this podcast, right?
Yeah.
Like, it keeps everything going. It keeps the engine moving, and I think that's really important.
We've got bigger businesses that do it. Like, I think 2-3 years ago, Dick Anderson did a corporate party here, which is great. Every year, Walmart does their corporate Christmas party here now, which is awesome. There's companies coming in and using it, and like, we want you guys. Like, come in, rent the building. You know what I mean? Like, there's more. Obviously, we're challenged during the hockey season, but we can find time. You know what I mean? If we can't, we'll move you out a little bit, and you still get the same experience. Sure. Anything we can do to get those booking hours up. And then once the booking hours are up, then we can start really diving into these conversations. And I think, and that's the biggest thing, is if people don't understand that and they don't look at that, then on the flip side, if you're not going to rent and we're not going to book, then when you're here, you need to make sure you're supporting the products that are here, which is another catch-22, because we try to do cool shit with the concessions because everybody said they wanted certain shit and no one fucking bought anything. So that's the other thing you got to be careful out. Like, it'd be so awesome if you had fucking breakfast burritos. Cool. I think our staff ate those fucking things. Fuck, for like a week and a half, dude. I was fucking eating 1889 breakfast sausage burritos just because I fucking didn't want to throw them out, Right. And it's like, well, okay, we're not doing that fucking again. And then you get the people coming back. It's like, well, you guys used to do breakfast. You're the only motherfucker that ate them, besides me and my staff. So those aren't getting done again. You know what I mean? So it's comical and how it navigates, but on the flip side, though, it's like, holy fuck! Like, are you kidding me?
I remember one year Stan brought in Pork Chop John's.
Yeah.
And, I mean, he was so excited. I'm not going to lie, I was excited. Like, I was like, sweet, a Pork Chop John's. And to his credit, he's like, let's start marketing to everybody in the neighborhood. Like, let's at least let the neighborhood know that we're fucking here having these things. You know what I mean? Doing this thing. But I mean, eventually it just didn't go because people that's kind of a niche thing. You either love pork chop sandwiches or you don't fucking eat them at all. You know, so like it's pretty funny how this market works.
One thing about it is people. Why are they coming here?
To the rink?
Yeah. Why?
They're probably coming for hockey.
To skate, use something to do with the ice.
Yeah. Okay. Fair.
That's the main draw.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
Everything else is a subsidy.
Good call.
If you're coming in to drink a beer just to hang out, like, hey, cool. I mean, I totally appreciate it, but you're an anomaly. Most people come into the rink and they go get a beer, and you go to a rodeo, dude, and they're only serving Bud Light or rodeo. What are you drinking?
Bud Light.
Why are you there?
Just watch rodeo.
Fucking weird. You know what I mean? So like it's the same fucking thing. Like you go to fucking watch a hockey game, man. You miss dinner. You miss dinner. Hey, it happens. Yeah. We've all been there. So you're gonna go down and get something.
100%.
Okay, like.
Taco in a bag.
Fucking A. I'm going to eat something I probably wouldn't eat anywhere else, 100%. Which is cool.
Yep.
I'm going to go up and drink a beer of something I probably would never drink anywhere else, but I'm going to go watch a fucking hockey game. Mm. We don't have Pepsi products. Okay, give me a Diet Coke.
Okay.
You know, like, yeah. What do you got to eat? Sorry, we just got pretzels. Fuck. Okay. I guess I'm having a pretzel. And there's still a line of 85 fucking people knowing they're just going to get a fucking pretzel.
Right.
The
one with cheese. Yeah.
So you try to offer as much as you can for what it is as a concession stand, number one. Mm-hmm. You try to offer whatever you can having a bar or a lounge, number two, because everybody's there. If you can help, everybody can just, like, well, I don't like Bud Light, so I'm not going to drink. That is fucking ridiculous.
Right.
You know, like, whatever. And that's fine. But understand when you pull out and you go to Lucky Bucky's because we don't have something you like, you can't bitch about anything else that goes 100%. On because you're not fucking supporting it.
Bingo.
So that's where we're at. Like it's like, holy fuck. So okay, you're gonna waste gas driving there to drink something you don't like because you're only here for an hour for your kid's hockey practice.
Right.
You know, but instead, and like, okay, it's only one beer. Cool. You're right. But if 50 of you do it 4 nights a week, that adds up over a year.
Bingo.
Yeah, you look at it from that standpoint, and it's like you're still there for ice, man. You're still there. You're still there to watch hockey. You're still there to watch figure skating. You're still there to play adult league, you know. But you can't complain if you're not supporting the building. Now, the other catch-22 is, well, I pay for, let's just say, adult hockey.
Okay.
And you're like, cool, that's awesome. So I support the rink. No, technically you're a customer. You're buying one product.
Right.
Okay, which you are technically kind of supporting the rink.
Right.
But supporting the rink, truly supporting the rink, is going after the other things that help us sustain to ensure that we can keep costs at a minimum.
Yeah, bingo.
Otherwise, you are just a customer, you know. And this isn't guilting or this isn't shaming by any means for anyone that wants to take this stance on. It's not. What this is showing you that everything that we're trying to offer is to offset something that is everyone's biggest complaint. Right? And that's what it is. You create verticals. You create other avenues of revenue to ensure that your major product can be competitive with the market at hand. At the end of the day, you come lunch hockey, like, yeah, man, skate. It's a good deal. Like, you can get lunch with it too. There's a price for that. Mm-hmm. But you're buying lunch, man, that's supporting the rink. The ice is just providing a customer service.
Got it.
That little shit is the stuff that gets us to where everybody wants to go. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? That little shit keeps the ice at a level that is competitive and it is fair for market value.
Love it.
You know, that little shit allows us to fix things. You know, because at the end of the day, man, with the shit that's gone wrong, yeah, it's been touch and go just off ice rental. You know? And then those little things allow us to make up for the fact that we're never going to get the amount of bookings that's necessary to do what we want to do. So we have to get that revenue from somewhere else.
That's fantastic.
So
good on you. Shit, man. That was awesome. That was very, like, first of all, thanks for talking about this. I know it's like a subject that might sound kind of weird, but again, I've said, and you've had people ask you, I'm sure, about, well, what's it like to operate a rink, or, you know, what are your expenses like, or, you know, whatever. But like, or again, just all these preconceived notions. And I'm glad that we're having a candid conversation about, well, you want to know what it's like?
Yeah.
Here you go.
Yeah.
Here, let's go behind the curtain. And I really appreciate you doing that, man.
Yeah,
That's
no,
really
it's
awesome.
been good. I mean, I think that there's information people need to know about. I mean, at the end of the day, man, it's about the kids and it's about having fun. To see kids having fun and to see the game growing, that's what it's all about. That's what it's all. I just happened to drive the vessel, and as challenging it as it is, it's still it's rewarded when you see a kid come off the ice. He's got fur in his face like a motherfucker, and he can't stop talking about his 3 goals that he just had.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's the best shit on planet Earth. Or you see a little figure skater do a thing and she comes off and she's so excited and her coaches are happy, or the curling guy's fucking pants fall down when they're fucking shooting rocks because they're so drunk during their bonspiel. You know, like to see that shit and how much fun people have really here, like that makes it all fucking worth it at the end of the day. It's just navigating the other sides of it that's challenging, but all businesses have that. So, but I don't think people get to see, you know, like in construction, you build a house for somebody, you see how happy they are, just that family, right? This, you get to see those family interactions on how happy with their kids are, and on such a grand scale. Like, you walk through a lobby after tournament, dude, it's all smiles. I mean, you'll have the coach that's arguing about some stupid ass shit somewhere, but for the most part, the parents that are walking out with their kids are so happy because by the time they get off the ice and out of their gear, they forgot that they fucking lost. They were just happy to have a day on the ice, and that's what it's all about.
Absolutely. Fucking love it. Jed, thank you, man.
Absolutely.
I appreciate it. This was a hell of a conversation. I had a lot of fun. And
Yeah.
I definitely learned a lot.
Yeah.
So for Jed Snyder, I'm Brad Oldhouse. That's Matthew on the ones and twos. Join us again next time on Unscripted with Jed Snyder. We gone.